Thank you, Steve, for remembering to press the record button. I know you and I have not the best track record for that.
I have a big sign over my desk. Turn the recording back
Turn the
on.
recording on. Yes.
I don't want to hear Brooke complaining about the 10 minutes of dead airspace because I turned it on early.
So hi guys, for those who do not know me, my name is Maggie McDowell. I am the Director of Technology and Development for the Boston Southwest and Easton Market Centers. And I am here, I know you don't get to see Brooke. I know you all are sad about that because we love her. But I'm taking over for her with Steve, my co-host today. Steve, you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Steve DeAngelis. I'm the MCTT for Market Centers 700 and 184 in Rhode Island. Soon to be merged into Keller Williams Coastal.
That's right. Steve has a lot more work now. So, but today's topic, we are here to talk about Google Forms, which is extremely exciting because Google Forms is an awesome way to leverage all sorts of things and to grab people's information. Why do we want people's information?
So we can contact them.
Hey, that's a novel concept. Yeah, that thing called lead generation. I always say, it's like kind of when I say at Ignite, if you don't know the answer is lead generation, right? Right. So that is why we want that. We want people's information, and there's various different reasons to grab it, right? So can anybody think of a good use for a Google form?
An open house sign.
Intake forms for listings or buyers.
Excellent. Hi, Amanda.
Offers.
Offers, yep. What other things do you guys think of?
Someone earlier said open house forms.
Yep, open house forms. Yep, definitely. You can use it for sign-up contests. You can use it as a form on your website to do a CMA for somebody for a property analysis. You can use it for reverse bold, right? There's various good reasons why you would want to do a Google form. And good news, Google Forms are relatively easy to use, and they come with the Google suite that you get with if you don't have a Google address, your KW address is a Google address. So you can use the Google suite through that as well. So without further ado, let's figure out how to get to forms. So I'm going to share my screen here. And it's doing that thing where, oh, let me share my screen. Lord. So we're going to do tab at a time. So I apologize. If you guys don't see what I'm talking about, let me know, and I will make sure I update what I'm sharing. So, okay. So a lot of people ask me, well, how in the heck do I get to Google Forms? Well, if you are signed into your Google account anywhere, so if you go to Chrome and you sign in, and if you go right to Google or from your email or from any sort of Google Sheets or anything like that, you're going to see these 9 meatballs. Usually there's only 3 meatballs, so there's 9 here for anybody who really wants a full Italian lunch. So right next to these 9 meatballs, and there's Google Apps, and we're going to click on that, and you're going to scroll down a little because they kind of hide Forms a little bit. Forms lives a little bit down the ways, and you're going to go over to Forms. And here is where you can build your forms. Now you can start with a blank, right? You're allowed to start with a blank and go from scratch, but they also have a ton of templates as well, which you may want to go through just to see what's available for yourself, right? You can start from scratch or use some of the templates that they have. They have a ton of just different templates. Believe it or not, Keller Williams, if you are on your KW one, Keller Williams actually has a full template gallery. For those who might not know it, as well as some general templates as well in there. So you can kind of see if there's something in there that you can utilize as a base. Otherwise, you can start from scratch. So I'll go ahead and start a blank form here. So I'm going to pretend this is for an open house. Easy enough. So I'm going to give it a name. Open house site. Right. And please sign in to receive property flyer. And it'd be helpful if I spell receive right. Yeah, excellent. Right. So you can put anything in that little description there. This is what they're going to see at the top of the form, right? This thing here. And now you're going to enter your questions one by one by one. What's a good question to ask on an open house form?
How did you find out
Are you
about the
represented by an agent?
Yep,
What's
that's
your
a great
name?
one. That's a good one to start with. Name's a good one to start with.
Who are you?
Right. And I'm going to give you a little tip. For this, you are going to want to separate out first name and last name here. Okay. And there is a good reason for that. And this is I'm going to touch on it briefly, but if you're using certain programs to pull over automatically the responses to a Google form to command, you are going to want to separate that first and last name. It is going to make your life a heck of a lot easier. So we're going to enter first name. Now, when I type in my question here, I have the ability to change what my options are for the type of response I can get, right? So I can do short answer, I can do paragraph, multiple choice, checkboxes, drop down, all different kinds of things here, and how I want to display it. Now, my name is a short answer, right? I'm going to type in my name here. I can also say, you can see this right away, I have some options underneath the question, which is duplicate, which means I want to ask this question again down later, or I want to do something similar and I just want to change the name of it. Delete means I can get rid of this question altogether. Required is very important. Required means they have to fill it out in order to submit the form, right? Because I really want their first name, I am going to require this, right? So this is a required piece. I also have some more options underneath this here, which is description and response validation. Those aren't too big. Description means kind of a description of the question, and response validation means it will let them know that they filled it in correctly, right? So you got a whole bunch of things there. So I'm just going to do first name here, okay? Now I'm going to add another question, right? So I'm going to hit that plus button right next to it. I have some options here. These are things I can add. And so I'm going to add a question because I want to ask for the last name as well, right? And again, short answer required. And I can go through and I can ask all sorts of things here. So I can add a title, I can add a description, I can actually put a picture in here if I wanted to. Believe it or not, I can actually add a video. So if I was doing this for maybe a property, I could maybe put a video of the property. If it's in YouTube somewhere, I could do that at the top or the bottom of the form. Either one gives me an option. And it's pretty simple. If I hit add a video, I can do it two ways. It says I can go ahead and just search YouTube for it, or I can go to the URL and I can paste the URL for it. So if I wanted to do Angry Frog, which is my favorite video on YouTube, honestly, and I can give it a title. This video makes you right. And now you wouldn't put this on your, you might, who knows, but you wouldn't put this on your open house sign-in sheet. Depends on the type of person you are, if you would or not. I'm going to ask for email. Again, short answer. I'm going to ask another one. Now, someone mentioned this already. They mentioned, are you working with a realtor? Right? So now for this, I'm going to want this to be multiple choice, yes or no, right? So in which case I can go ahead and I can type them in. The nice thing is it kind of looks at your question and it kind of intuits if it's a yes or a no question. I can even just click here and say yes, and no, it'll actually add both those things without me having to do anything. So I can require those. I did forget something. I forgot phone number. Now, at any point in time, I can rearrange these questions. Now, I would love my phone number to be above this email. So I'm gonna just pick it up by see this part here, it looks like 6 dots. If I hover over it, it looks kind of like a cross, which is like the universal move symbol. I can just click and drag it to where I want it to be, okay? So I have all those things in there as well. All right, so now I'm back down here. I have one more question. How long have you been looking at properties? Right, and I could do multiple choice here, or I could just have them fill in short answer, either one. So that might be a good one. And then one last thing I'm going to say that's good here is you can just add straight out text here below, and just do actually what I'll do here is you want to put this somewhere on your form. You can add it as a question if you want to, or you could just add it up top. If you add something to the effect of, by submitting my information, I agree to be contacted by Maggie McDowell if I am working with another agent. This is not a solicitation, right? So I can put that pretty much anywhere that I want to. Why would I want this here?
Protect yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Do not call list.
Right. If you're basically telling them, hey, if you fill this out, I'm gonna contact you, right? So it's like right up front. And that way it allows you to contact them. It also protects you too if, let's just say they are working with a real estate agent and they're in a contract, it's not going to get you in trouble because you're going to say, hey, I'm not trying to get you out of a contract, right? It kind of just states it up front. Okay. Questions so far about anything I've done?
We got a question in the chat from Mary Beth.
Sure.
She's asking, how do you access the templates? On my Google Forms, KW email, there are no templates.
There are no templates at all? None? Even just general ones? Yes, no, maybe so.
Yeah, no, there's nothing.
No templates at all, really? Interesting. So maybe it's, I'll go back and show you again where it was. Maybe you're just looking on the wrong space, but we'll take a look at, I just don't want to
Yeah,
get
no,
out.
I know where they are. I know the dots. There's nothing there. We'll just take this offline.
Okay, that's no problem. Yep. Okay. Any other questions with filling out the forms, choosing the type of questions, those kinds of things?
I have a quick question.
Yes.
So regarding email addresses, is there an option to add like a drop down, for instance, so you're not always typing Gmail, Yahoo, so that you know of, or some kind of shortcut that would?
Oh, I see. No, it's not that advanced.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, good question though. I do like that. It's like kind of like where they always have like that at Gmail or at Yahoo, right? So you can just click on it, it fills in.
Yeah, it just saves a lot of time if that was an option, but.
True, yeah. Hopefully their phone has an option. Like my phone, it knows right away.
Exactly, that's why I was hoping it could build in.
So as long as they're using their phone to fill it out, it should like help them out a little, to be honest. So, which does help in kind of moving it along, right? And there's a couple of different ways you can do this, right? And I'll kind of talk about this a little bit too in a minute, about the places you might want to put this kind of stuff. So, okay, yep. All right. Now, so I got my questions. Now I kind of have to zhuzh it up a little bit, right? We got to make it look pretty. So you have some options. At the top, you have the option to customize your theme. So I can go in here, I can actually choose an image. And I can Use one of theirs. They have a ton of photos to choose from. Like if I wanted something a little like artsy. Oh, I like this. It's Halloween. Sure, why not? I'm a Halloween girl. I can also upload. I can upload photos. So if you wanted to put in a picture of the house, put a picture of the house, right? If we're doing an open house, whatever you want, you're allowed to do that. And Photos actually looks at your photos to see what you've got going on. So I have a whole bunch of photos for myself, for my computer here. So yeah, so you can pick a photo. Actually, I kind of like this is kind of artsy. Insert that. And seeing that you can see where it goes. Oh, I didn't realize it was a spider. Oh no. Like least favorite thing in the world. Wow, Maggie, good choice. All right, here we go. Much better, more artsy. And then I can pick colors. So the colors for the background. And then even below that, I can kind of pick variations on that color if I want to go lighter, darker. So if I wanted a blue background, I want a little darker, something a little nice. And I could change the font style. You can do basic, decorative, formal, playful. Don't go too nuts here. I wouldn't go decorative. A lot of people sometimes like cursive can get misconstrued as different things. So do something relatively normal in terms of font style there. So yeah, so I can go through all this here. If I want to look at it, I can look at my preview, which is hit the little eye, and I can see what's going on here, right? So I can see my form, my little angry squeaking frog totally works.
Desert rain frog.
Yeah, my little squeaky
Squeaking
frog.
viral sensation.
I love frog. I play it all the time at home. My cats go nuts when I do. So, all right. Okay, so we've got it all customized. Now we need to figure out where the responses are going to go to. Okay, so we're going to take a look at the responses. So responses, if you're in your form, you can actually see your responses one by one. You can also turn off at any time that no longer am I accepting responses on this. But what I really want here is I want to create the spreadsheet. So when I do this, it's actually going to ask me two questions. I can either create a new spreadsheet for this, or I can use an existing spreadsheet and create a new tab in that spreadsheet. So in this case, I want a new spreadsheet, and I'll just call it open house responses I forget what date is, 10, there we go, and create. So what that just did, it created a spreadsheet for me. So all my responses are going to go into this spreadsheet. So even if I don't have a direct connection with Command, at any point in time, I can come in here and I can see all the responses and do whatever I need to do with this list of people, whether it's contact them, bring it into a CRM, whatever it needs to be. These are my responses right here. Okay, so this is really, really helpful. You want to make sure you have your responses here. You can also get an email notification for new responses. This is great if you're doing something like a property value form, right? I want to get emailed when someone fills out that form so I can go right ahead and go make sure that I can go do the CMA for them really quickly. I can select where the destination for the responses go. I can download the responses into a CSV file, right? So I have all sorts of options regarding that. So this response button is kind of big. It's kind of huge. The other things I can do in here are in the settings. I can make this a quiz. I'm not making this a quiz. I cannot see why you would need to make this a quiz, but there could be a reason for it. This just gives you, like, you can actually have correct answers. And so you can actually give someone a score if they got correct answers on something. Responses. Do I want to collect email addresses? I don't need to because I'm actually getting that. I'm having them fill that in for me. Does it require a sign in to view the responses? Yes, I want only myself to be able to see these responses. Those kinds of things. The presentation. So do they have a progress bar for how far they're getting in the questionnaire. Do I want to shuffle the question order? Usually you're not going to do those. The confirmation message. You should always have a confirmation message. This just says, hey, like you can edit this to make sure that says like, hey, thanks for responding. We're going to get back to you and whatever, right? You can have them do the response. You can show them a link to fill out the form again if you want to. All of those things. So these are different things. At the very least, you should make sure that you edit your confirmation message here. Okay. Yep. So, and then there's some defaults for the form in here that you really don't need to change at all. All right. Any questions regarding responses or settings here? Okay.
We got one person asking, do we need an iPad to have people to sign into this Google form?
That is one way to do it. You can do iPad. You could also just do a QR code. I would actually suggest a QR code because a QR code is something they scan themselves and then they do it on their phone, right? So they got the whole kit and caboodle in front of them. You can have a tablet. You should always have some alternate way if you are using this for open house. This is if you're using this for open houses, right? So this does not put into some of the other things that you can do with this. But if you're using this for open houses, you should, QR code's great, but you should always have an alternate way of doing things, right? Just because if for some reason they try to scan the QR code and it's not working for them, their phone's not doing it, so maybe you give them the tablet to fill out, or maybe like the internet goes down, the power goes out, whatever, you don't like, nothing's working. So in that case, you know, have a piece of paper, pencil handy, right? Have your alternates ready in case, or have the link on your phone so you can just text it to them so they can just do the form that way, right? Have alternate availability for if you're doing open houses with this, just so you know. Does that make sense to you guys? Be prepared. Be like the mom of the open house. Like, just be prepared for everything. So
We've got another person asking, where do you attach the QR code?
So the QR code, right? So you don't attach a QR code to this, you make it a QR code, right? So give me 1 second and I will show you a bunch of different ways to do it. But when we are ready for this form to be somewhere else, right? If you hit send, you can now send this form some way or another, right? I'm not sending this form anywhere because I'm just using this for an open house. But you can, if you wanted to send it over, like maybe you're doing a survey for, you know, how well you did at the closing and you wanted a testimonial. This is how you got your testimonials, right? Then I could send this via email and have that be sent over to them that way. The link here is very important. So they all get their own link. It's its own web page. So at any point in time, I can copy this link. And if I put that link into a browser, right, I get the form, right? This is what anybody would see if they clicked on the link. They would now be able to fill out this form. Now, if I wanted a QR code for this, very simply, I can right click. This is if I'm in Chrome, I can right click and I can hit create QR code for this page. Beep. And then I get the QR code for this page. And now what I can do is I can download this. I can put it on a big piece of paper and I can put it at my open house everywhere that they could see. So they could just go, boop, 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 like just scan it and be ready to use. This is the easiest way to get a QR code. There are other QR code generators. You can just go to Google and type in QR code generator and there's going to be a bunch of them that will pop up. As long as you paste the actual URL for the form itself, not the actual form, then you'll be able to get a QR code for it.
Okay, we got 2 questions in the chat.
Yep.
3 questions rather now.
Got it.
Can you do the QR code one more time?
Yep.
And then what are the top uses for this? And the third one is where'd it go? Would you shorten the link?
I would shorten the link if I'm like putting the link in, like just the link itself in marketing material, right? If I'm like attaching, like putting it in an email or something like that. No one likes the long, like it just takes up way too many characters. So, and a lot of times I will shorten the link just to make it easier to paste different places. To show this again, the QR code, right? All I have to do is actually go to the form. So, and then right click. How's that work on an Apple? It's command click. What is it? Control the little, and then create QR code for this page, and it creates the QR code for the page. And then I can just download this. And now I have a picture to use of the QR code. Now, one more thing I want to show you guys.
One more question,
Yes.
2 more questions. Is the response message standard to all forms, or can it be set for individual forms?
Yes, when you do this response section in the settings, when you come in here for that confirmation message, you can click edit and you can have it say whatever you want it to say. Okay. And back to this, because I want to get back to this because someone asked for use cases. This is a very good use case right here. On the last part of send form is an iframe. For those people who don't know what an iframe is, this is a way that you can put a form into a website. Okay, so what I can do is I can build a form, and I can have the form be for fill this form out for a complimentary property evaluation, right? And I can ask all the questions I would want to ask for that. And then when my form is done, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to grab the embed frame here, and I'm going to paste that into my website. So now I will have that Google form on a web page on my site so that people can ask for a home evaluation. So that this embed is very, very big right here. It makes it a heck of a lot easier. And for those that ask your MCTT, because it's a little clunky on how to get it to work on your website and command. But as long as you have it, basically you copy this and you paste it into a text box into your editor and command, and you'll be able to have that be there for use. So yes, use cases for forms. There's a whole bunch of them, right? You can have open houses. You can have sign up for contests. You can have, CR asking for information so that people can do, you can do home property evaluations for them. Any sort of way that you would want to collect data, a form is a great way to do it. And because of the flexibility with the Google form, you can ask the questions that you want, add pictures, add videos, make it look really inviting for people to fill out. And then you can go ahead and utilize the information that you get from it, and you can either send it via email, you can get the link and do a QR code, you can put it on social media, you can put it on your web page. There's a whole bunch of different ways to do it. There's sort of an advanced section to this, which we definitely won't have time to go over today, but you can hook up responses on Google Forms to your command using a third-party software called Zapier. Please talk to your MCTT about that. There are ways to do it. So, if I'm doing this right, I've got my open house form ready so that when they fill it out, it automatically goes into command when they fill it out. And then I've got it going with a certain tag so that it automatically starts a smart plan so that it starts sending them stuff automatically. Because I'm a big fan of automation and not having to do stuff. So everybody knows I'm inherently lazy. If I can make technology do something that I don't have to do, I will. So, all right.
Okay, one more question here.
Yeah.
You promised info on the property in the beginning if they fill out the form.
Mm-hmm.
Where are they going to get the info from after filling it out?
So there on mine, right? The way I just told you that I would have mine run is the first thing the smart plan is doing is it's sending that person an email with a link to the landing page on the form, as well as maybe some information regarding the property itself, right? So that's what I'm having it do automatically. You can also do something along the lines where at the that confirmation message, you can maybe put a link in here to have that, like with a link to some landing page information. You could have command open at your station and just fire off landing pages to all these people as they're filling out the form, right? So there's a bunch of different ways that I would get that information out to them automatically. You don't have to put that in there either. If you're not comfortable with any of that stuff, you could just still have your own old-fashioned flyers and you can give them out that way and then just get back to them later as well. So, but that is how I would run mine. Other questions? Wow. Either I have stunned you all or I did a good job. I don't know which one, but does anybody, so can anybody see a use for these forms? Any of these forms? Was this of value to anybody?
I can see a use for the forms for us where if we're planning an event, instead of having to keep track of everyone's emailing back and forth that they RSVP or doing like an evite, we can actually have this as a link and then they can, if there's a choice, like if they have to like choose food or if they're inviting someone else, like there's a lot of ways that we could use this instead of us having to keep track of it.
Yeah, absolutely, Claire. That's a great use case for this. If you're doing like some sort of client party or something along those lines, or maybe a pie giveaway, right? What kind of pie do you want? All those things with the responses in one spot. Absolutely.
I actually had a question about you automating it for an open house for a smart plan. Because it's automatically going into a smart plan and it's sending them information on the property. Does that mean you have a smart plan for every property? Because it would be specific to that smart plan would be specific to that email with that document attached.
Yep. So basically it's sort of like I have a smart plan that I just kind of re-up for the properties I'm doing for that weekend. Does that make sense? So like the meat of the smart plan is pretty much the same, right? It's all that follow-up stuff, right? And then the very first thing is sort of the information regarding the property. So if I want to do another open house, then I just need to either copy that one or just change that one for the next weekend, right? And because I'm going to chain that into my open house follow-up plan afterwards. Does that make sense, Claire? Because what happens with when you use a third party to bring it in, whether you're using Zapier or API, you can actually put in, have it come up with a tag and then have the tag trigger the smart plan. So what I'll do is like the first thing is the immediate email with all the information. And then like maybe the next thing will be add to the open house follow-up smart plan, right? So no matter what open house I'm doing, all I have to do is change that first smart plan to fit whatever open house I'm doing.
Yep, that makes sense. I was just trying to clarify how exactly they got the specific information on that property, but thank you.
Cool. Yep. So there's all sorts of different ways to utilize this. I'm gonna stop my share real quick. But Google Forms are a really powerful tool and they're free. So raise your hand if you like free. All right, cool. Yeah, so it's a very nice tool to have in your toolbox for whatever you're trying to do. Google is very, very flexible and lets you do a lot of great things, ask a lot of different questions in different ways. I'm glad. So I hope this was helpful for you guys.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Excellent. And then, yeah, Mary Beth, who's your MCTT? You're muted.
Mike McPherson.
Oh, just ask Mike. Mike will help you.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's what I think.
if you need something sooner, you can always let me know too, because I think Mike might be away later. So, because I think he went to family reunion. But here,
Okay.
There you
What's
go.
your contact information?
just threw it in the chat for you.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
Yep, no problem.
Thanks.
No problem. All right, cool. Well, if there are no other questions, then I hope to see you guys all on the growth call. And I hope a lot of you, anybody here going to family reunion, either digitally or in person? I know Steve. Drew, people. If you can, at least try to attend digitally. It is one of the best, things to encounter. You're going to the New England one in Mohegan. Great, that one's awesome too. Yeah, I love family reunion. I never leave family reunion without something new. And I come back with so many ideas, and it's impossible to enact them all, but it's one of my favorite things. Virtually, yep. Awesome. Cool. All right, guys. I guess we will see you all later.